Dear Catalyst, you have been told your whole life that your gift was your kindness, your politeness. Ooh, you sweet child, good boy or good girl, like an obedient dog. And you have been told that your strength was your endless compassion, your endless patience with others. And that your sensitivity made you so considerate to other people's needs. But the famous Carl Jung saw what the world refused to admit. It was not a gift at all. It was survival sensitivity, a trauma response dressed up as a virtue. You learned to please because saying no meant rejection. You learned to absorb because absorbing was safer than exploding. You learned to smile because honesty risked exile. You learned to comply because resisting meant being mocked or belittled. And so for years you performed the role of the good one, the nice one, the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the parent archetype to everyone in need. But then comes the moment, and everything changes. The moment you whisper, "What if I stopped?" And that question is the beginning of consciousness, the beginning of individuation. The moment the empath dies and the catalyst begins to breathe. At first, it feels like death, because the mask slips, the persona crumbles, the old soul and trauma contracts dissolve. The people who fed on your giving call you cold, distant, or weird. The ones who thrived on your silence call you cruel. And the world built on your sacrifice shudders, because you no longer play the role. But here's the secret Jung left us. You do not become selfish in a traditional sense, harming others on your own behalf. You become dangerously powerful. And Jung called it sacred selfishness. Dangerous to systems that profit from your exhaustion. Dangerous to manipulators and predators who fed on your guilt. Dangerous to every distortion that demanded your silence and compliance. Because the awakened empath is not weak. They are sovereign. They stop projecting potential onto the unwilling. They stop rescuing those committed to drowning. They stop mistaking guilt for responsibility. They stop apologizing for having needs of their own. And when the shadow finally surfaces, when the rage of decades of use and misuse ignites, something extraordinary happens. Compassion doesn't disappear. It burns hotter, as fire instead as pity or as a martyrdom. The furnace of compassion, love forged in betrayal. Love that has walked through venom, exile, and storms, and emerged unbreakable. That's the empath's metamorphosis. They move from people-pleasing to sovereignty, from survival sensitivity to conscious sensitivity, from being the world's emotional landfill to being the field's lighthouse. They stop being needed and start being true. They stop begging for belonging and begin building tribes. They stop living for approval and start living as proof. They stop lying to themselves and start to live their truth. And this is the world's greatest fear. Because when empaths awaken, when they turn into true catalysts, they don't just free themselves, they model freedom. They ignite freedom. They are freedom. And as said, Jung called it individuation. We call it the catalyst. So hear me. Your breaking point is not your end. It is your breakthrough. When you stop pleasing, when you stop absorbing, when you stop apologizing for existing, you do not lose love, you become love. Love that includes yourself as well. And that, my dear empath, is the fire the world has been waiting for. Not the fire that burns you out, but the fire that burns you whole. Thank you.